In this video I will recreate 3 different APCs in LEGO. I've also created displays for them and I will show you how the minifigures came together. The first vehicle is the German TPz Fuchs armed with a 12.5 cm Browning M2HB machine gun. I've decided to build it in the typical German black, dark green and brown camouflage. The gun is fully turnable and you can also depress or lift it. I've also managed to include openable doors. All you have to do is to remove this 1x4 tile and here we go. The final detail I want to mention are the smoke dischargers which are mounted on the left and right of the vehicle. If you're interested in building this vehicle by yourself, you can buy instructions for it at rebrickable.com. Since I've made this model a few weeks ago, it already took a lot of dust, so I had to grab my Clean Map bricks, vacuum cleaner and removed all the dust. If you're interested in this vacuum cleaner, you can check their website in the description down below, and by using my coupon code you can even save 10% on your order. Let's take a look at my custom printed Bundeswehr minifigures. I've started gearing up this battle dress uniform with a vest, a regular hat as well as a flak ton helmet and added goggles to it. I've then grabbed the Brick Arms G36 and slightly modified it. I've removed the grenade launcher underneath the barrel by using a knife. Let's set up our second soldier real quick. And here are both soldiers and the vehicle I will build a mock for now. I've started building a black frame and added dark green plates and wedge plates to it. Since the Fuchs is an amphibious vehicle, I thought it would be nice to let it come out of a river. Plan is to place the Fuchs in there, and I will use these 1x1 studs, place them all over it, and these will work as water. To achieve the best look and optimize the position of the Fuchs in the water, I've decided to raise it by 2 plates. This also allowed me to cover the whole area underneath the 1x1 studs in dark tan and achieve a nice and smooth look. Now I just had to fill in all the smaller gaps and covering it with dark green. I've then connected 2 studs to create the border for the water. After placing the Fuchs in the right position of the mock, I've basically just placed all of the loose 1x1 studs next to it. And after some final adjustments, this part of the build is done. But now I have to finish all the foliage details. So let's build a tree step by step. I've grabbed 5 of the smaller leaf pieces and placed them together. I've then attached a brown hinge to it as well as the well-known small leaf pieces. After repeating the step a few more times, I've created the tree stamp. I first had to place the plates where the tree stamp will be. I've then tiled off the area next to the tree and continued by building the tree stamp. The key element is this modified 1x2 plate with a handle on the side. As you can see, this allowed me to place our freshly made leaves on there. All the different angles I can position the leaves make the tree look really natural. I just had to place some more leaf pieces and the tree was done. The final step for this build is finishing the ground details. I've again used these smaller leaf pieces as well as tiles and plates, which are all of them in dark green. I've also added some parts of dark brown to add some variety to the ground. The scenery doesn't depict any specific location, but let's pretend it's a military training ground somewhere in Germany. The next vehicle I've made is the M1126 Stryker. There are so many variants of this vehicle, but for this time I've decided to go with the standard one, but I will build more in the future. I've tried to capture all the unique angles of this vehicle, and of course I really like how the M2HB is mounted on top of it. Speaking of it, again, the gun is turnable and you can also lift and depress it. This time the smoke dischargers are also mounted on the turret. The loading ramp at the back of the vehicle is openable. The perfect minifigures to go with the Stryker are more multicam US soldiers. I've added a head with chin straps and a matching helmet to it. Again, I've used goggles, but this time in dark tan. I've removed the right arm of the minifigure because I had a special weapon placement in my mind. I've grabbed this M4 and attached the arm onto it. I've then attached the gun to the left hand of the minifigure, and here you can see the positioning, which is pretty cool in my opinion. I've also prepared the second and a third soldier. The second build takes place in the Middle Eastern region. I plan on building a house in a street where the Stryker will drive on. I've wanted to create a used look of the walls, and these headlight bricks really help doing so. After attaching a 1x4 plate on them, the combination of a wedge plate and tiles perfectly end up. I've then placed a wedged curved slope onto this 2x2 plate and attached it to the wall. I had the unique idea of using this ice cream piece to decorate the left pillar of the wall. Next, I've placed these modified plates to hold the upcoming door. These jumper plates allowed me to place plates in the middle of the wall. I've then grabbed these corner tiles and placed them in between the studs of the plates. Now I just have to figure out a door design. I've used different sizes of reddish brown plates, attached modified plates to them, and then rounded them up by using tiles. The brackets allowed me to even place corner tiles on top of the door. I've then mirrored the whole part of the build, and this allowed me to place the doors in a nice looking angle like this. Now it's time to build the actual house. Since the house has to match the angles of the outer walls, I first had to figure out the design how to place it. I've then prepared these modules and just had to put them together. You will see in a second where I've added all of these modified bricks with stud on the side. Since the house is angled, the roof also needed to be. I've used these rounded plates and decorated them with corner tiles as well as regular tiles. I've then grabbed a bunch of plates and added cheese slopes to them. And here you can see why I've added all of these modified bricks. They allowed me to place the plates on the side of the walls. The middle part is done and ready to be placed in the rest of the build. The 2x2 jumper plate is the piece where all of this is held on. Next I will design the final wall of the house. I've wanted to implement a small window into the wall and use these jumper plates. These allowed me to integrate the window into the wall. The 1x2 plates then ended up with the rest of the bricks. To create a nice shaping, I've decided to use some rounded bricks and plates to finalize the wall design. This sandwich tile closed all annoying gaps. I've again placed cheese slopes on the side of the walls, and then I was able to complete the house. Because of the cheese slopes there aren't any annoying gaps, even though the middle part of the house is placed in an angle. Next I finished the road details real quick. Like usual I use a combination of wedged plates, tiles and plates. I've also created a small pathway next to the door. One final detail I want to add is a utility pole. I've used these small round dark bluish grey pieces to create energy cells. The Lego string works as cable. Now I just had to build the actual pole out of 1x1 rounded bricks. I've then placed all of this on the rest of the build and even connected the cable with the house. And here you can see the US infantry guided by their Stryker. Let's move on with the final unit of this video. I've created two soldiers of the Soviet-Afghan war era. One soldier is armed with the typical AK-47, the other one with an RPG which is overmolded by brick arms. The final detail I want to add to my BTR-80 is the Soviet flag. And here's the final vehicle of this video. The model features movable tires as well as a turnable turret. Since the display also fits the Soviet-Afghan war era, I've decided to just remove the utility pole and place the BTR on it.